Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. I note that this past October was the first October we hadn't been together in this room, so it had to start sooner or later. Listen, this is a winter storm, the likes of which we are quite familiar with here in Connecticut. 6 to 10 inches seems to be the prediction of what we're going to receive. We're certainly capable of handling that. We have 632 trucks on the roads, at state roads right now. At 7 p.m., we're bringing in 200 contractors. I have little doubt that we can keep the roads relatively clear throughout this storm. We are urging people to stay off the road tonight. Once you get home, stay at home. If you don't need to be on any of our highways, please don't be on our highways. There's a second part of this storm that concerns me perhaps the most, and that is how cold it is likely to be tonight and then again tomorrow. We are seeing single-digit numbers in Massachusetts and New Hampshire already. That cold weather is on its way here. In all likelihood, we have not seen the kind of cold weather that we're going to see in the next couple of days in as many as 15 to 18 years. And I'll remind you that it was 2004 the last time that we had 0-degree temperatures. So people are not used to this cold, and that is one of the things that we want to point out. That's why we activated our cold weather protocol much earlier today. We have had crews going out throughout our cities and towns, reaching out to homeless people to get them inside so that we don't lose someone to the cold. This is a big concern of mine, as well as we've put out a number of things that you can do to make sure that you are personally safe. There are a couple of things. If you need a place to warm up or to be sheltered, call 211. Get to a phone and call 211. If you want some tips on how to deal with the cold, go to www.ct.gov/DEMHS. And we have some clues there or some suggestions on how to avoid problems. A couple of quick things. If you have pipes that have not been winterized, you should make sure that they are winterized. If you have a frozen pipe, do not use an open flame on a frozen pipe. That's extremely dangerous to do. Pipes can explode under those circumstances and cause even further damage. I urge everyone in the state of Connecticut to know where their shut-off valve is in case you do have frozen pipes. And I also urge everyone to keep their cabinets on outside walls. So if you have a kitchen sink cabinet or a bathroom cabinet that's on an outside wall, keep those cabinets open so that that outside area closest has a chance to get some of the heat from your house. And with that, I think I want to say this. We're fully capable of handling this kind of storm. We've done it so many times in the last 3 years and really throughout our history. The cold weather, I just don't want to see us lose one of our citizens. Questions?
Governor, you sent the state employees home early on a staggered basis. What about tomorrow morning?
It is our intention to open up non-essential business in the state of Connecticut at 9:30 tomorrow, based on the predictions of how much snow we're going to get and when it should be tailing off. We believe that we should be able to open non-essential functions at 9:30. So that's about, for most offices, that's about an hour later. If you're talking about license renewal or that sort of thing, those offices would normally open at 7:45. We're announcing a 9:30 opening for non-essential services. So that gives people more time to get to work so that we can have the state open. If that changes, I mean, if there's different weather conditions that come about, then we'll certainly be reaching out and let everyone know about that as well. I think the reality is that the really bad weather, as far as an inch an hour snow, is going to occur later tonight between 10 and 2 a.m. Now, that could start as early as 9 and go as late as 3 or 4. But right now, we're thinking that 10 to 2 is the inch an hour. At inch an hour, you're talking about blizzard conditions and very difficult seeing very far ahead of you. That's why we're urging people to stay off the highways.
What about high winds?
We're not, this is high winds. We get very nervous about winds that are over 40 miles an hour. Right now, we're thinking that these are about 35 miles an hour. Our weather is very different than what's going to be experienced in Boston. Although Boston's only an hour and 20-minute drive from here, they're going to get the brunt of the storm, including the wind. It appears that we're not going to get the brunt of that of the storm. But I will honestly tell you, if we get winds over 40 miles an hour, this could be a electricity going off situation. CL&P, for instance, has 140 crews available right now. United Illuminating also has its crews available today and tomorrow, normal work days. So this is a condition which they think they can handle, and we'll certainly stay on top of them.
What about the western sound, high tide?
We are expecting tides about 2 feet higher than the tide would normally be. Having said that, tonight is a particularly high tide on the lunar flow. So we're going to have high water to begin with, about 2 feet in addition. That's should be minimal flooding for us. Now, as I watch the news, there's a lot of talk about what's happening in the Boston area, where flooding is expected to be far worse than it is here.
Right, but if it's going to be that cold and you have an extra high tide, that water could freeze almost as soon as it comes in.
Indeed, it could. At 2 feet above normal, those are conditions that everybody out there are relatively used to at this point. It's a lunar tide. They know what those are. They experience them every month. You add 2 feet to that. That's what we're currently looking at. If the winds were to pick up dramatically, then that could change. But if you're asking what we're expecting right now and what we're planning for right now, we're working with our meteorologist. 35-mile-an-hour winds, bad, but not 40, 2 feet of extra tide, bad, but certainly something that we're easily capable of handling.
Governor, have you been in touch with some of Hartford area's large employers and what their plans are for letting their employees go and what their plans are?
As you know, I staggered release today, not because the snow was so bad, that the accumulations were so bad, but what I decided to do my best to do, to attempt to do the best that we could to avoid everyone getting out at the same time. So even in the state of Connecticut, where we closed some things early, we did it at 15-minute intervals so that people could get out of a particular garage, get onto a particular road, use a particular exit or entrance onto the highway system. So and at the time that we did it early today. We certainly recommended that private employers take a look at what we were doing. I don't have firm information. I am aware, I've been told that a number of employers followed the same protocol, but I thought we needed to play a leadership role in making sure that what has happened in other storms didn't happen this time. So we were very direct. We told what offices they could close at 3 or 3:15 or 3:30, and we tried to manage that as well as we could.
What about the public transit? I imagine people who ride on buses and trains tomorrow could expect perhaps delays.
I think everyone should expect delays. We know that, for instance, I'll run through these. Metro North is probably going to run a lighter than normal schedule. Amtrak is going to run a lighter than normal schedule, just because they know what they experienced today. They know that a lot of folks have chosen to not to begin their normal post New Year's Day activities. With respect to the buses, they are running at this time. They're doing a good job of running. We anticipate, as of now, that they'll be running in the morning, although I think you should expect a delay. At 6 inches, that's, generally speaking, if municipalities clear their roads, there'd be no reason for us not to be able to continue service in most cases. If municipalities don't do a good job at that, we could have some problems. I remind everybody we had over 40 inches of snow last February in a single storm. This is not a big New England storm, but it is a particularly cold New England storm, and much of my efforts today have been devoted to making sure that we don't have people freeze to death.
And any word from the airport authority about Bradley?
Bradley is operating pretty close to normal. We certainly urge everyone to check with their carrier. Other airports are having some difficulties in the region. I just know that from watching the TVs. coverage, but Bradley seems to be up and running, as do our other airports as well.
They've said that already. They anticipate a lot of planes will be stranded elsewhere, planes that would be here tonight to leave tomorrow.
That's what I'm told, but nothing would prevent us from, that we see would prevent us from operating Bradley at a relatively normal schedule if planes are getting in and out. So Bradley's well prepared. We're well prepared. The utilities, we've certainly, I've been on a number of calls with the utilities today. This is a regular New England storm, but it's going to be particularly cold over the next 48 hours. You have to dress in layers, you have to be bundled up, and we've got to get homeless people off the streets. That's my biggest concern. Okay? Thank you very much.